Welcome back, YouTube. Yes, we're doing this again. And the reason why we're doing this again is because the last thermostat we put in here, it didn't freaking work. So here it is, a new day, new month, new week. I don't really know, but either way, today we're changing the thermostat out yet again because I've learned something. So, if you go to your local O'Reilly's and purchase one of these, this is a thermostat for a Dodge Dakota 4.7, Jeep Grand Cherokee 4.7. Either way, it's for a 4.7 engine, right? So, apparently, these Dodges, these 4.7s, they're very sensitive when it comes to the cooling system that I've come to learn. And apparently, you could put 4 or 5 of these in there, different brands, whatever. If you get it from the auto parts store, it's not going to work. So I have learned that you actually have to go to a Dodge dealer and get a Mopar one, which Mopar is Dodge, in case y'all didn't know. Because apparently only Mopar thermostats are the only things that actually help the cooling system on these trucks. Are the only thermostats that work on the 4.7s. Did not know that. And the more I thought about it, this all started when I first changed the thermostat. Because I can get into that story in another video, but I changed the thermostat like 3 years ago, and really, the more I think about it, that's when all my overheating issues kind of started. So I went today, got a Mopar one. We're gonna put that in here and see if that works. And if this doesn't work, then honestly, the truck just might be sitting for another 3 years until I muster up the courage to work on it again. So yeah, let's go ahead and change this out real fast. All right, let's see how much water comes out of this. Come on now. All right. Old aftermarket thermostat coming out. All right, first thing you notice right off the bat, here's the one that I just took out. This is the one that you get like in an O'Reilly's and all that. So it's got this little notch right here, right, on the gasket. And you have a notch right here on the thermostat housing. The one that they gave me at the Dodge store does not. And that's what it says back there. So it looks the same, but the gasket doesn't have that notch. But they have assured me that this is for a 4.7. I even looked up the part number myself, and it is a 4.7. It says it fits all 4.7 engines. So we're gonna put this in here. We're gonna see if it works. And I was told to put this little vent thing right here. I was told to point it like kind of going towards the top. So let's do that. Alrighty, one quick pit stop change later. Let's put some more coolant back in this thing. Alright, I hope the battery ain't dead. Nice. Alright, we got hot. I don't necessarily have to have a full blast, but there we go. Got the temperature up, running. Let's go up here. Alright, we got some bubbles coming out. Honestly, I don't even care if it makes a mess. If it's getting bubbles out, that's what I'm going with. Alright, another thing I've learned about these Dakotas, that anytime you do anything with the cooling system, whether you change the radiator, change water pump, thermostat, whatever it is, you got to bleed the thing out. So we're going to bleed it out, I swear, for the gazillionth time. and we're gonna see what happens. And while I'm waiting for it, then we're gonna enjoy my lunch. So I'll catch back up with y'all in a second. A little bit of an update for you guys. If you ever get the extra large drink at Whataburger, it fits in your cup holder. Fun fact for you. Also, another thing that's making me hopeful, before I ever had all my overheating issues with this truck, anytime I would come out here in the wintertime and I would like let it warm up, like I'd come out here, crank it up, go inside, get ready for work. Whenever I came back out here and it was always at that little first tick right there, this heater would be blazing freaking hot. And sure enough, as soon as it got to that mark, this heater is blazing freaking hot. So that is making me very hopeful right now. All right, I don't see no bubbles coming out. None at all. You see how steady that is? So we're gonna put the plug back in. Alright y'all, I am freaking cooking in here. This heater works amazing. But my temperature is getting on up there, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. And I might wait till later and I'm gonna go drive it one more time, see if that actually fixed it. Alright, a little update for you guys. So I've been driving around for about 15-20 minutes now. My temperature, it took forever, but it finally climbed up to halfway. It's been kind of going a little above halfway, a little under halfway. And like right now, we've been sitting here for a hot minute and now it's back halfway. This is where it should be. I've gotten out 1,000 times. Like I've literally stopped at every stop sign to check, see if I got water coming out anywhere. And so far I don't. My heat is still blazing hot. The only thing that I'm still concerned about is, well, for one, the check engine light, and two, so you get out of the truck, the top of the radiator hose, like the top radiator hose is completely hot to the touch. The right side, that side of the radiator that the hose is on, it's hot. But then you go down to where the thermostat is, and that radiator hose is very cold. And like it's ice cold to the touch. So maybe that's normal because my temperature is staying halfway. It's not getting hot. It's actually going a little less than halfway. And also I think my battery is really either my battery is bad or my battery is very weak, because my lights are actually kind of dimming, and sometimes when I get to the stop sign it dies. Like it's like it's idle solo, it dies. So I wonder if my battery is no good. I might need to give it a good charge. That's me giving it gas, by the way. But all right, let's see if we can make it home. Well, YouTube, I never claimed to be the smartest man, but this is probably the stupidest thing that I have ever done. So I am pretty sure this is 99% of my problem. And yeah, let's just go ahead and crawl into the truck and I can show y'all. Alright, so as y'all saw in the last video, I changed my thermostat, right? I put a thermostat from O'Reilly's in it. I put a thermostat from the Dodge store in it in the last video, like an actual Mopar thermostat, and I was still having some issues. It was never overheating, but it was still, water was blowing out of the freaking reservoir and blowing out from somewhere. So I finally figured out what it is. So if you look right here, when I pull this off, that is not how that thermostat is supposed to go. This part is supposed to go that way. Not this way, but that way. And that was my freaking problem the entire time. Alrighty, now that we got that put back together, let's crank it up, bleed it out for the 100 millionth time, and see if that fixes it. We're doing the official drive-through test. And the whole trip here, my temperature has stayed like right there. It's kind of climbing a little bit because we're parked, but... Alaska, what do you think? She says this truck's too dang small. Alright, I got y'all set up on a tripod. I don't know how secure y'all are. You might feel a little bit of bumping around, and I'm having a crazy hair day right now, so I don't have my hat. But I wanted to go ahead and make this video for y'all, stating basically what was wrong with the Dakota. So, as y'all saw, I've replaced the thermostat, I've replaced the head gaskets, I've replaced everything that I could possibly think of. I've replaced radiator, I've replaced water pumps, I've replaced literally the entire cooling system on this truck, and yet it was still overheating. And well, after months and months and months of trying to figure it out, I think I know what the issue was. Which I'm pretty sure this was my issue. It's just crazy that it took this long for it to freaking, have an effect. But basically, to give you all a little background, so 3 years ago, actually almost 4 years ago now, me and my current girlfriend, back when we first started dating, like literally one of our first dates, I took her to a place that was about 2 hours away from where I lived, and I took her there, and we had our little date. I took her to a, oh my god, sorry y'all, hit a turn. But basically, I took her on a date, and it was at like a nice little location, whatever. But I drove the Dakota. I had many other things to drive. That was probably a lot better for a 2-hour trip, but instead, I decided I wanted to drive the Dakota. So, drove the Dakota, and drove it there, and I never had a single issue with this truck until this date. I don't know what it was, but I guess Casper just didn't want me to be happy. I don't know. But literally went on this date, and went on the date, drove it there, started having a few little issues, whatever. And this was right after I put the 35s on here too, right after that. Then I drove it back, my blower motor went out, so I had no AC, and it was freaking hot summer in July. Fun fact for you. It was fun stuff. But then, after I got it home, fixed the blower motor, I started developing these weird overheating issues. Like, my temperature gauge would be above halfway. It wouldn't never be overheating, but it'd be above halfway. So I started developing all these overheating issues, and when I did, I started going into diagnostic mode. It already had a new water pump on there, because the water pump actually did go out on me like a couple years prior, so it already had a new one. So I didn't think that was the issue. So immediately I went to the thermostat. Thermostat was the very first thing I ever changed on there. And let me tell you, I swore up and down that I put this thing back in there the right way. And I took it out, I put it back in exactly how I took it out. Alright? Alright, so replace the thermostat. At the time, it didn't really seem like it was working, which the overheating issues were never that bad to begin with. It was just like my temperature gauge would get above halfway, and it would kind of get on the verge of overheating, but it never did overheat. So, and also, another fun fact for you, I actually did wreck the Dakota. So, I got into a wreck, like I rear-ended somebody, like in 2020, either 2020 or 2019, I can't exactly remember. I think 2019. I rear-ended somebody, and I had to replace the radiator. So, radiator was new too, but the radiator, ever since I put the radiator in here, the overheating issues were acting kind of weird. Like, I thought maybe it was just I got a cheap radiator, so I thought maybe that had something to do with it. So I went and got a little $high radiator. Well, not really $high, but I got a little more expensive one than the one I got in here. And I ordered it from Rock Auto, and I got a really good brand. And then when I did, I I had it got it in. I replaced it 3 times because every single one I got in was broken. So I finally got a good one that wasn't broken, put it in here, and I thought all was good. Like thermostat, radiator, all was good. Never really gave me that many more issues after that, and then it just started developing where it got worse and worse and worse. So after we're done replacing all the stuff, I was like, well, now maybe it is the head gasket. And then it got to the point where I couldn't even drive around the block without the water freaking blowing out the reservoir, like how I was doing that one video, or if I don't even know if I recorded that part. But kind of like how I did in that one video where it blew out the reservoir. I couldn't even drive it without even doing that, and that's kind of where it became. And then the reason why I kind of parked it was because at that point in my life, I had a lot going on. Me and my girlfriend were literally getting an apartment together. And by the way, I drove this Dakota for the long amount of time that me and her were dating, and like we were dating long enough to get an apartment together, and that's when all these issues started. And it was just kind of like a thing that it just kind of kept coming and going, and then finally got to the point where it came and it just never left. So we were getting an apartment together. Then just kind of I would try and work on the truck whenever I could. Like I'll come back to my parents' house, I'll work on it like every other weekend or something, just trying to replace things on it, see if I can figure it out, replace temperature sensors, everything. And finally I just boiled it down to, it's the head gasket. It's got to be the head gasket. That's the only thing I ain't replaced on. They're common on these 4.7s. That was it. Well, fast forward 3 years later, I have my own house now. I'm actually able to work on stuff at my house, like actually do jobs like this at my house, at least for the most part. Couldn't do it at the apartment, couldn't do it at the other house I lived at because I was renting it. And then, yeah, so I finally got to where I can actually do this stuff. So, needless to say, I did. And as y'all saw, we replaced it after sorry about that. So, and yet, after replacing all that, I still had the issues. So, needless to say, I was stumped. Like, I literally replaced everything on here. There's literally nothing else it could have been. And so, the way it was acting like it was the thermostat. And I was like, I've put like 3 thermostats in this thing. And so what I ended up doing was, I went on good old Google, went on the forums, and a lot of the forums said that you have to put a Mopar one in there. You have to put a factory one in there because sometimes those aftermarket ones you get from the auto parts store, they don't work right. Like they have those same issues. So I was like, well, it's worth a shot. A Mopar one's actually not that much more expensive than one you get at an auto parts store. And I was like, you know what? If nothing else, we'll try it. So I put it in there, and same issue. It still did not seem like it was acting right. So then I went on YouTube, and I decided to look up videos of how to put a thermostat in to see if maybe if I was putting it there right, just to see if there's some like little trick that I never knew about, whatever. And the problem was, 3 years ago, I put the thermostat in backwards. The little coil part that's supposed to go towards the engine side, I had it going towards the radiator side. And I didn't realize that until I watched this video, because every single time I replaced it, I put it back on there like how I took it off. But the problem is, I did it wrong 3 years ago. And it's mind-boggling to me that was the problem, because that was the very first thing I ever replaced. And it took that long for it to get, major issue. So that was mind-boggling to me. So, what did I do? I took the thermostat back off, like literally the next day, took the thermostat back off, flipped it around, put it back in. I ain't had an overheating issue since. And which, it's not overheating, but my temperature gauge still reads funny. Like, I've been driving for a hot minute now, and it still has not gone to operating temp. Like, it's just sitting at the cold mark, which I guess is fine, but I don't think it's supposed to do that. I think it should be at halfway. At least that's how it's always been. It's always been at halfway by now. I don't know. I'm actually making this bit like literally like over a month later after I did all this. It's just been taking me so long to actually update you guys on what happened because the Dakotas started developing other issues. Mainly like the injectors. So another thing I did after I did that is that Dakota developed some other issues after I did all that. Like the entire time, like after I replaced the head gasket and I was driving it, it's been like blowing injectors like crazy. I don't know why, but it would literally blow one, and then I'd fix it, and then I would drive it, then it'd blow another one, it'd blow a completely different one, then I'd drive it, then I'd fix it, and I'd drive again, and then after it blew a third one, like just and I wouldn't say blow, but every time it would run perfect, and then I get a check engine light, and then it'll run rough. It was a different injector code every single time. So it was really weird. So y'all see it in the next video, because I got another video coming after this one. I replaced all the injectors in this thing. I replaced them with ones that I found on Amazon, and if I'll be honest with you, I don't know how I feel about them right now. They're very iffy right now. But anyways, guys, the moral of the story and the moral of this video, so I can go ahead and cut it off, was I'm an idiot that made a mistake like 3 years ago, and it came back to bite me years later. Like, I spent so much money replacing the head gaskets and thermostats. I've spent so much money on this thing. Like, it is crazy that the entire issue was just a little mistake that I made years ago. So I guess moral of the story is have somebody double check your work, because and it's kind of crazy I say that, because my dad, who's been working on cars his entire life, my dad's 70 years old, he's worked on cars his entire life. He questioned it, don't get me wrong, he questioned it. Like, for years he was questioning it, whether I put it right the first time or not. But I repeatedly told him that I put it back in the way it came out. I know I did, I know I did, I know I did. Well, turns out I actually did. So, yeah. But, oh well. You live and learn, things happen. Well, like I say, you live and learn. Things happen, you make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. And on the bright side, I don't have to worry about the cooling system on this truck ever again. That's for sure. Now I can just kind of drive it and enjoy it now. And I'm driving it because now we're officially legal. I got a tag and everything for it now. So, yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying it. At least until these injectors blow up and I have to put another set of injectors in it. But hey, you know what? Project things, things happen. But hopefully there'll be a lot more videos of this truck to come. I've got a lot of plans this year for this truck. Yeah, all I can say is just stay tuned. Thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you have an embarrassing story, leave it in the comments. It kind of make me feel better. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, y'all have a good one.